And we are live. So let me quickly just grab that link, put that thing in the chat, because you know how it goes. Let's see. Showing that I'm live. Shows I'm live. There I am. Audio's A-OK. 3 minutes to spare. At everyone. Then at everyone. Stock Talk now live. Now live. All right. We are on. Sunday Stock Talk. We are here. On a Sunday, talking about stocks. Let's go. Good afternoon, everybody. Hello. This is Artstrading, and today we're doing a little stock talk. We are going to be talking about what we think is going to happen with this market going into the week of 8/15/2022, and I'm going to be honest, I'm a little bullish. I think we touched 14,000 this week, but we'll have to see. That said, I do like the way this market is setting up. We broke this downtrend that we have on NQ, which is the NASDAQ futures, and overall, I think we have a fair shot of seeing a massive push going into this week. This also means that we're going to hit about 432 going in for the S&P 500/ES as the futures, and I'm also going to be taking requests for different tickers that you guys might have. Good evening, everybody. What's up, y'all? We are 2 minutes from officially starting, but we'll hop right into this thing. Let me get CJ over here on this call. Because apparently I'm the one who's late, even though I showed up early. But you know how it goes. So, let's get right into this in the meantime. Everyone who has a ticker you'd like me to check out, please put it into the ticker channel on the Discord. The link is in the description below for everyone who is not part of the Artstrading Discord channel. However, that said, I will also be taking things out of the YouTube chat, so everyone can participate as usual. That way we can knock out all of our trades, all of our game plan, and we can go over everything trading related for this Sunday Stock Talk. This is not limited to just charting. I am going to be taking Q&A, so you guys can, ask me questions. I know I've been trading futures a little more often, so a lot of people have had questions about that. I've actually hopped on a few coaching calls about that. That is something that I do offer to go over the futures game plan, because that is something that has been interesting a lot of our members. That said, I am very excited for everyone tuning in today. I'm gonna be honest, I've slacked a little bit in terms of doing stock talks, but I appreciate everyone here for tuning in. I think this thing is showing very, very old art. Let's see, Sunday Stock Talk with Team 8/14/2022. I'm not sure how this thing shows up on everyone else's side. Shows up as Sunday Stock Talk with the team, so we will see how it goes. Sunday Stock Talk with team. Yeah, perfect. 14. 1 second. Sir, I am live. I cannot take a phone call. Sorry, homie. Peace. Alrighty. Cool. So anyways, let's get right into this thing. Naz, I see you're here, bro. You haven't said really much. What's good, man? How you doing?
That's good. I'm trying to get my TOS uploaded, but I have to do some updates. So I'm working on that right now.
I got you. Anyways, I'll start off with just basic stuff, just futures really quick, just to go over that, and we can get our game plan rolling. So firstly, these are ES futures. I have a 1, 5, and daily chart loaded up. I want to note that we've been on an absolute shred recently. Notice the 9 SMA has been riding very strong. Notice we bounced off of the 9, headed up higher. I think because of the way that this thing is crossed up, I think we do still have a little bit of room to the upside for the S&P 500. That said, notice RSI is on the overbought side. That is something that I would be a little concerned about, to be completely honest. I think that if this thing stays overbought, it might be a little sketchy. But we are already close to that overhead resistance, so I wouldn't be surprised if what we ended up doing is hit this resistance, head back down, back to this 9-day moving average. I think this week is going to be fairly bullish, especially considering that we have the job numbers coming out. And depending on how those numbers come out, will be the deciding factor on whether or not we end up seeing this market push or not. That said, I do think that we could very easily see the top channel hit. Here's NQ really quick for you guys. This is the NASDAQ futures. We do have quite a bit to go. There's a 500-point gap for us to fill in. Notice that RSI is not overbought just yet. MACD is open, but it is losing a little bit of steam. I would be careful, but I do like the NASDAQ to the upside. I think overall the trend should be up going into this week, just based off of fundamental how we've been trading this thing. I think overall is fairly strong. So that said, I do want to note that I'll be most likely taking stocks like Apple and like Amazon this week because of that, along with trading futures on the NASDAQ. So let's really quickly get right into this thing. Here is Apple. I've noticed that for some reason I cannot see the chat. I have no idea why. That's a little strange. But I do have some messages here in the ticker channel on the Discord for me to look over. So that should be a-okay. I do have the channel showing chat here, so that's cool. But yeah, so let's go right into this thing. Apple. Oh, that's A-B. Here's Apple. Apple, I think, has been on an absolute shred recently, and I think that this thing can definitely continue until about 175 before we end up seeing some resistance. One thing that I'd like to note is that the previous high this thing had is 179. Then it's, what, 182? So we're essentially at all-time highs again for Apple. I think Apple has been doing a very good job carrying this market as a whole. I think the NASDAQ is doing very well because of it. I think that if we can continue with Apple's strength, notice that the MACD is opening right back up and we're starting to see strength on the histogram. I think that with that coupled with the rest of the market, Amazon, Microsoft, AMD, Nvidia, I think can definitely continue to push us higher. That said, we do have resistance at 174 and at 175, and once we cross this little mark, we'll see 179/180. That said, again, notice the RSI is a little overbought. I would be careful of this. That said, I think that we'll eventually just touch this channel before we see a little bit of a pullback, but you never know. As of right now, futures are slightly red, so that could be a telling indicator. I'm not sure just yet. Next, we've got Amazon. So Amazon is kind of setting up, honestly, as like a little bit of a bull flag. Ever since the earnings, it did jump quite a bit, about 10%. So that said, notice we are riding on top of the 9-day moving average. We are losing a little bit of steam, but we are fairly strong on RSI. Not overbought just yet, but we are going to see an SMA squeeze with the 9 and the 200-day moving averages. I think that depending on whether or not this thing breaks or not will be our trend, indicator, right? So again, I'm looking at the rest of the stock market as a whole, and the rest of the market looks like we might see a top. So if we do end up seeing that top, I think Amazon again might end up seeing that rejection here at 145. That in mind, I do like the potential of a squeeze to 150/155. We are getting towards that overbought side, but I do think that it is fairly strong as we speak. I got a request for Tesla. Tesla has been on an absolute shred, and I think that it's getting ready to start popping off again. I think that if we can get Tesla above 910, we can definitely see this thing push. They do have their split coming up 3-1. This is on the 25th, so that is something to keep in mind. We might end up seeing that push as people start trying to buy this shares cheap, because again, what does a split mean? We are now giving 3 shares for every one. Keep in mind that this thing just split recently. If you look at this thing on a daily chart, let's put on a 2-year, you can see that we split not too long ago, back in uh, what, 2 years ago, almost to this day, we split from 5 to 1. So one share split into five, and now we're doing another three. So that is something to definitely consider looking at when it comes to trading this market going into this week. Is that if we see strength with Nasdaq, we'll definitely see Tesla push, and above this 200-day moving average, we'll definitely see quite a push. So creating an alert really quick. Boom. Above 200 SMA, I will likely be taking this thing right back up to about 950 to about 972, which are my fib lines. Notice we've been hanging on to this 861 mark very nicely. The RSI is showing or not the RSI, the MACD is starting to cross back up a little bit. And if you look at the MACD lines, the histogram dumped off, went into selling pressure, but it's already losing that selling pressure. And notice the volume visualizer is a green candle, meaning that majority is buying. So, that in mind, I do like Tesla. Tesla, I think, is super strong, and it's been following this megaphone to the upside very, very well. So, overall, I'm quite a fan of how that thing looks. I am also having a request for Shopify. Boom, Shop. So, Shop has been an interesting buy for me. I bought long-term shares at about $34, and that's mainly because I think that Shopify is severely oversold. If you look at this thing, it did end up having a split, 20 to 1, or no, 10 to 1, sorry. And so this thing went from $1,700 a share to the equivalent of $400 a share. So extremely oversold in my opinion. And because of that, I definitely think that it is a good value buy as of right now. Not financial advice, obviously, but it is crossed up. RSI is strong, and we do have a fairly bullish MACD. So with that in mind, I do think that we can potentially see the Shopify stock push as well. Notice we have this little setup right here. We had a triangle, symmetrical triangle. RSI is neutral, and we have the MACD that is fairly neutral, which means that if we can hold above this 200-day moving average, we can definitely see a push back up to 41, and then obviously even higher, maybe even to $45. So again, another great buy in my opinion. Not financial advice, but it does look really good. Overall, I think that there's a lot of potential with the market this week, and so that is definitely something that I'm going to be looking at. So I'll go into things that I like, but again, feel free to put in questions or put in tickers into the Discord or into the YouTube chat. That way I can get to them. Microsoft, sitting right at the 200-day moving average. We broke the 61 fib. This thing is really strong. RSI opening up. RSI is strong. MACD opening up. Very, very strong. We're above 292. I think that this thing can definitely push up to 295 and then maybe even 300. I think Microsoft has shown us quite a bit of strength recently and has absolutely shredded this downtrend that it was just super stuck in. So, Microsoft, fairly bullish. Overall, I think that this entire market is getting a little heated up, but I think that we've got a little bit to go still. So again, let me pull up QQQ. This is the NASDAQ. When you look at this thing, we did break that down channel, and so overall, I think that we have quite a little bit to go, maybe another 3-4%. That is 342.51, and overall I think it looks pretty strong. Here's the S&P 500 SPY. When you look at, let me just remove this candle and adjust my indicators. 1 second, sorry. Correct this bar, remove. Boom. Okay. So you look at this thing and it does look a little scary, right? We check this thing out, but overall as a whole, I think that again, we are going to try to test that that resistance level over here at 432. So as a whole, I think that we potentially check this thing out, and maybe we rip higher, right? We have Google. Google had their split recently. This was on the 15th, and since then it has bottomed out a little bit. It almost looks like a little bit of a little cup and handle / J pattern. I think that overall, if we can get above this 122 mark, or really 123, 124, we can push. RSI isn't even overbought yet, but RSI and MACD are open. So that said, 124, we push to 130, 130, 144. These are long-term trades. These aren't going to happen in a day, but I think the overall trend is to the upside with this market. And I think with stocks like Google, the way they're setting up, I think we can see very large cup and handles start to form, if not just having, that little parabola, right? That little cup, that little U pattern. I think overall the market's not going to have a V-shaped recovery, but we are going to see that slow turn back around. I think a lot of people are scared right now, but in reality, there's definitely a lot of opportunity. Let's pull up some banks really quick. Here's JP Morgan. JP Morgan looks great. They broke out a downtrend and they've been pushing since then. Notice green, 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 green. We've seen a almost 10% bump pretty much from this little bottom that we just saw. So overall, I think JP Morgan, I think Wells Fargo, American Express are doing very well. I think that depending on how we treat this crossover of the SMAs and if we can maintain this strong RSI and MACD setup, I think we can definitely see these things push. 127 and 132 look very good for levels. So overall, I'm a very big fan of how finances look right now, and I'm personally loading up into JP Morgan and American Express shares. Not financial advice, that's just what I'm doing just for the sake of transparency. Here is AXP. This is American Express. American Express crossover. RSI is strong, a little overbought, but we are approaching the 200-day moving average, and if we can break above there without too much issue, we can definitely see this thing push. We'll eventually see 9 SMA catch up, and that's where we'll likely see that bump towards the upside. Here's Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo, strong. Again, we're approaching this fib line. This is the 100 fib. Notice the MACD opened right back up into more buying. RSI is bullish. We do have a very good shot of breaking 46 and going straight for 48, and that is a very big move when it comes to Wells Fargo options. This is a 20-40% gain on your contracts depending on your contract choice. Let me pull up Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs already broke the 200-day moving average. If that doesn't already tell you what a lot of these finance stocks are going to be doing, I don't know what will. But if you look at Goldman Sachs, one of the big names, one of the big hitters, these guys are rocketing right now. We just broke 200 SMA. We saw that SMA squeeze that I keep talking about. And at least in the case of Goldman Sachs, they squeezed and pushed higher. It's overbought right now, but I do think that it has a very good amount of strength. Costco. This is one of my go-tos. I think Costco's been bugging out a little bit recently. They had a crossover on the daily chart, so I'm trying to kind of steer a little bit away from it. It had this crossover reversal 543. I think overall it might slide down to the 200-day moving average before we see an upside move. So I might even take this thing short. Just depends on how the market looks. Let me pull up another retail. Here's Walmart. Walmart had this horrible earnings, right? And posted an okay earnings right after that. We have a crossover that's about to happen on the daily chart. RSI is fairly neutral. I think we see a pretty decent shot of retesting this 133 and then pushing up to 138, 140. That's just how it looks as a whole. I think it looks pretty strong. But overall, again, depends on what the market gives us. Let's really quickly check if we have anything in the chat. No, we do not. Oh, yes, we do actually. I have a few DMs. Yeah, guys, when it comes to requesting stuff, feel free to either put it in the Discord, on the YouTube, or just DM me what your questions are or what your tickers that you'd like me to chart out are. CJ, are you there, bro? I can see your little name in there, but you haven't said a single word. Maybe because I'm monologuing a little bit. But what is good, bro? What is good?
I was letting you get your Jim Cramer on, bro. So.
Palantir? Bro, I have not seen a person trade Palantir in I think a year, 2 years.
It's for a reason, bro. For a reason.
We're currently bear flagging off of the 50-day moving average. I would probably have a short bias on Palantir just as how it looks right now. It's trying to cross back up, but overall, I would say I'm bearish on that. But CJ, bro, where you been, man? We missed you all week long, man, and we were hitting hella trades on futures. Friday was insane. I even had to put up a TikTok about it. That was a 9.2K day. Overall, extremely happy about that. Bro, I'm excited for you to come in with the fundies, bro. We're in.
Yeah, I was waiting on my funded account to post, so it's officially posted. So this
yes,
week,
sir.
Let's go.
Let's run it up. What are you looking at for the market, bro? You already called me and gave me a little bit of the thesis, and I do actually really like what you were saying. So, what's good, bro?
Did you already say the same thing on stream?
I have not, bro. I've been waiting for you to show up.
Well, I mean, yeah. So this week we have FOMC Wednesday, 2 o'clock Eastern. We're on the West Coast, so that's going to be 11 o'clock our time. Normally, when we have FOMC, market people aren't really trying to, place too many trades the day of because they never really know how the news is going to come out. So I've seen that typically Wednesdays when there's FOMC, it's relatively flat. So my thesis is Monday, Tuesday, everybody's going to take their position. So that's going to be probably the best 2 trading days of the week. And then we have Wednesday is probably going to be pretty flat. Thursday, we have initial jobless claims coming out. And I was just talking to Oscar about that. The reason why initial jobless claims are so important is because if the jobless claims are higher than they were as of last report, I think last report was 260,000 people filed for basically unemployment. So if that number is higher, that basically means the Fed now does not have to raise rates as fast because less people have less money to spend, which kind of slows down inflation by itself. Now, if that number is lower, meaning more people have jobs than the last 260,000 people, then Fed now has to, ramp up those rate hikes, and that's obviously going to make the market drop down pre-market. So, I'm fairly bullish going into the first maybe 1 or 2 days of the week. Wednesday flat, Thursday we'll see what happens, kind of 50-50, and then Friday, man, it's free risk.
Hey, alrighty, bro. Literally, I'm so glad we're sitting on a fairly similar boat here. I think that this market is ready to go. I think that we might again see that tiny little pullback, but depending on whether or not those numbers come out in our favor, will be, if this market keeps going for another month, right? If you look at seasonality, if you look at how the market's been trading for the past few years, you'll typically see a little bit of a slump, a little bit of a slowdown, but this market has been on an absolute shred this year, going into that huge, recovery from that massive sell-off we just saw. And so we have been seeing a ton of opportunity to trade. NQ's been great, ES has been great. A few of the stocks that we trade are a little slow. Apple, Amazon, doing amazing, and that's why it's been showing up a little more often than, say, my usual Costco, JP Morgan, American Express. Naz, bro, I see you're lurking. What's up, man?
Yeah, so
That's it.
Homie
That's
spit.
it.
That was it. All right. Yeah, so.
I mean, my bad.
he said he's all in. He's all in.
Yeah, I'm just kind of setting up my charts and stuff. But
Hey,
no,
I know you guys already went over Amazon too. So what was kind of I kind of missed that. I'm sorry. What was the consensus? Because I know we have the 200 moving average right there, like 145. You guys think we kind of gap and jump over that thing, or we have some issues as resistance? What do y'all think?
I don't think we'll gap over it, but I think we'll see a little bit of a 9 and 200-day moving average squeeze. And I think, personally, I mean, when you look at finance stocks that are already kind of showing what's going to happen, I think we squeeze the two SMA lines and we push higher. Only thing that I'm scared of is RSI is a little on the overbought side for Amazon. And the MACD histogram is showing that we're losing a little bit of the sell-off, but it is tapering off quite a bit. So that could be our sign of, hey, maybe we should load up into this thing, because overall, I mean, it looks pretty strong. If you look at a weekly chart, I mean, this thing W bottom crossed over, everything looks really good, and we don't have resistance until about 140, 150 pretty much. And the previous resistance line, was drawn from all the way back in February 2021. So if we break this level, which we already look like we're going to break, I think we just keep going. Honestly, there's not really much saying that holds us back. If we have this SMA squeeze, I think we keep rocketing and we see that 14,000 NQ, if not more,
Yeah.
I'm with you.
So overall, bro, not financial advice. I'm all in. I think Amazon looks great. Like, seriously, I think banks, Amazon. I think tech and finance are gonna team carry us. And whether or not the retail sector wants to join us, who cares? Those are two massive sectors, and I think it's gonna push SPY. It's gonna push NQ. Overall, I think it looks really good.
I'm in.
Yo, Oscar, I see you in here, bro. Yeah, I charted it, or I already charted it.
Cool.
Oscar, I see you, bro. What's good? Talk to me, man.
Yo, what's up, man?
That means he's all in. He's all in.
Yeah.
Confirmed. Yeah, no, I am a little concerned about the RSI on most stocks being just up. I mean, even if you look at Apple's daily, it's just, we have like a half a pullback and then like 3 green candles, half a pullback, 3 green candles. So I think we do one more exhaustion push, maybe tomorrow, Tuesday, and then use like Wednesday, Thursday to kind of chill out a little bit.
Have a little bit of consolidation and set up for that flag.
Yeah, I think we gotta. What do you call it? I can't think of the term you normally use. But yeah, basically it has to chill out a little bit.
Agree. Yeah, I think this market as a whole looks great, though. I mean, really, we're sitting very strong in terms of most metrics. I think the only thing that kind of scares me is that we're hitting that overbought. That said, 20 and 9 SMA have crossed over on the weekly charts. And again, 14,200 is our resistance for NQ. So I think we sliced right through 14,000 and then we head higher. This thing turns into a cup when we hit, what, 15,000? So we got quite a bit to go. And maybe this thing even turns into an inverse head shoulder. If you look at it in terms of a weekly chart, we could eventually, I don't know, maybe we see all-time highs at the end of this year. Genuinely. I mean, if you look at the weekly chart, this thing looks so good. Pull up Apple, pull up anything.
Right close to Apple's almost at all-time highs again.
Exactly.
Right? A few bucks off, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think Apple turns into an inverse, man. Crossed up, everything looks really good for it. Overall, like, man, this market's ready, dude. If you're not in this market, I mean, not financial advice, but it's pretty neat. This market's pretty solid.
Like recession. I've never heard of her.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, this market looks great. Does anyone have any questions for me or CJ or Naz or Oscar? You know, we have our stock talk. This is our Q&A session. This is just homies to homies. Like, what's up? I know it's a little. I don't have to name drop you if you don't want me to, but you know, I feel like I don't really give a massive opportunity during the live streams to just talk about just trading as a whole. It's more so just, here's the stock I want to look at. What do you think of this? What about this price level? When maybe we should be talking about, hey, you know, here's something just the actual work related. And so if you guys have any questions as to the actual trading itself, that might be something that we can hopefully answer for you. Because we have been doing a lot of funded trading, futures trading. That is something that we've been getting into. That is something where we're qualifying for a company to essentially, you know, give us money to trade, right? I've been trading with a company, and they've been so far paying out, which is really exciting. And that is something that I've been, you know, posting about regularly because I've been trading futures as well. And currently, I think that this market keeps pushing, so I think we see 15,000 eventually, but 14,000 really for the NASDAQ. Things look great. That's all I can say, really. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, I mean, feel free to ask away, because honestly, I think I ripped through the majority of the stuff that we like to trade. We've been live for about 30 minutes, and I mean, shoot, we kind of ripped through this thing, so open for any questions. CJ, if you have anything that you...
I was about to say, yeah, I know I kind of, again, came late to the party, so when you guys charted NASDAQ, what was kind of your overall consensus for tomorrow? I know sometimes you'll give a consensus for, like, end of week, and it always hits, but, like, okay, what's your consensus for tomorrow?
Okay. Firstly, again, daily chart looks great. So I think what we end up seeing is a green day continuation, considering that we are open wide on the MACD. RSI is strong, but if you look at this thing in terms of a shorter term, let's call it an hourly chart. Look at the hourly, and we have a flag on the hourly chart
the bull flag, bro.
with the 9 SMA. I think this thing rounds out and pushes up until we see, what, 580? Above 580 will be that test, whether or not we push up until 670 area. I think that tomorrow we can very easily see the 600 test. And if we pop that thing, we have until, what, 674 as our top of the channel. So overall, I'm very confident that we see a push tomorrow. But we'll
funny,
see.
Man. That's literally what me and Oscar have bar for bar, like as far as the numbers. So always a good thing to see.
Someone asks, can I only trade futures with a funded account? No, it's just futures have a very big margin requirement. And personally, I just don't want to load up that much capital into my account. Because for TD Ameritrade, you have to put like $20,000 for an NQ contract, and with a funded account, it doesn't matter because I have $150,000, and it's also not my money, which is cool. But you do not need to have a funded account to trade futures. You can trade it with as little, I think, as what, $2,000. I'm pretty sure, if you wanted to do mini contracts. It's just that you are locking up a lot of capital very quickly. And also, you got to be careful of fees because those can also eat you up a bit. But yeah, no, overall, this market looks super solid. I'm very, very hyped. What are some main stocks you guys are looking at for next week? I mean, personally, I'm looking at QQQ, SPY to the upside. I'm looking at Apple and Amazon in particular. I think Apple and Amazon are my two big bets. And I think JP Morgan and American Express are my second two. I don't think Costco is going to be something I trade this week. I just don't think it's got a setup yet. But I think finance and tech are going to be super strong this week, just off of how it's set up right now. I mean, for all I know, Joe Biden slips on a banana and hits the nuclear button, and this thing goes, goes up. But looks pretty good so far. What do I think of AMC? That is a name I have not traded. I went to AMC yesterday. I saw a movie. I mean,
I think if you're still trading AMC, respectfully, like, you're gambling. You're not even trading at this point.
Respectfully, AMC's sketch. But to answer your question, it looks like a cup and handle. You're at the bottom of the channel. It might head higher. It might not. Honestly, you don't know because it's a meme stock. I heard a lot of people are trading BBBY, which is Bed Bath & Beyond. I heard this thing, from my understanding, it should be rocket mode tomorrow. Based off of how this thing's tracing against the GameStop setup from, 2 years ago now?
It's a lot of volume, too.
It's a ton of volume. Yeah, you look at this thing, average is 21 mil, and Friday was 80 million, so 4 times the volume. We could very easily see BBBY push like crazy, but I don't know. This thing's going to be hitting 200 SMA likely tomorrow at 14, and depending on that, whether or not we bump this thing or, break it, we might even see this thing, shoot all the way back up into the 20s. I don't know. I don't trade meme stocks, but hey, maybe there's an opportunity. Who knows? The meme stocks, I try to avoid them. I got lucky with BlackBerry like 2 years ago, but I try to avoid those. VEEE.
As you should, bro.
VEEE. I have no idea what this is, but when a stock starts shooting up 70%, I just avoid it.
Well, yeah, so I know, people are probably gonna come back and listen to this, but I think you should talk about why you avoid them. Obviously I understand, because there's a difference between investing, there's a difference between day trading, and there's a difference between gambling, right? Those are all 3 different things. So, why do you avoid them? Give people a little bit of insight as to why they shouldn't really be trying to chase that next high. They should be maybe focusing that same time on just learning how to build the skill and discipline of trading, consistent stock.
Yeah, so the reason why I avoid meme stocks per se, or those kinds of stocks where we're seeing parabolic 70% gain in a day, or that there's that one Chinese stock that shot up 2,000% in the span of a couple of days. Reason why I'm avoiding those kinds of plays is really that just as quickly as this thing can come up, it can go down just as easily. I mean, no one talks about Luckin Coffee anymore, right? This thing shot up 500% and then went down 0. It just went down to 0 essentially. And so I personally, just my risk tolerance doesn't allow me to do that, right? I stick to a pretty strict set of rules, and so when a stock doesn't fit that rule set, I just don't trade them. VEE, it's up 77% today. I personally, I wouldn't trade it, so I can't really give much opinion on it because I don't trade stocks that do that kind of parabolic move very, very often. To be honest, rarely at all, actually. But that's just, I scrutinize stocks quite a bit when it comes to taking long-term / even short-term trades. Maybe you can catch a scalp in it. I'm just not going to be in it personally. Someone asks, thoughts on Disney continuing uptrend after earnings of Pepsi, or after earnings and Pepsi? I don't know what happened with Pepsi, but here, I'll start off with Pep just so I can check that out. What, Pep? Oh, Pepsi's gonna... okay, unironically, CJ, look at Pepsi. It's a super solid W bottom. Break of 178. Dude, this thing might actually just rocket ship.
Hey, so that I'm glad you pulled that up because that kind of brings me into one of the other things I was going to ask if we could talk about. I know there are a lot of people who don't have the time to be able to day trade with us. So I think what would be pretty dope is if you started doing maybe 1 or 2 swing trades a week. Just kind of hey, if I were to swing a stock, this is what it would be.
Mm-hmm.
I think Pepsi would be a great example.
Pepsi looks solid, dude.
You know what I mean? It's probably a slow mover. You're looking to get maybe 3-4 weeks out option expiry, and it's something that that single mom or that guy who's working graveyard, so he can't wake up at 6 a.m. but he's able to check his stocks at maybe 12 o'clock. Something that he can kind of play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I think that the Yeah, I think Pepsi stock just looks great, and I'll definitely be taking more swing trades, especially considering market conditions are kind of settling a little bit. It's not as insanely insanely risky as it was maybe like a few weeks ago. But I think Pepsi looks so good right now. I think this might actually be a very good candidate for a long-term swing. Just the W setup on a daily chart on its own is warranted enough. Let me just go back into Disney really quick, just because that was what was the question. I love the recovery, and they did have an earnings beat, and so you have until 128/130 in terms of upside. It is overbought. I would be careful of that, but this could turn into a bull flag. I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow it was fairly flat, and then we see the continuation. Look at the MACD, and it's opening up again to the upside, and there's more volume than average. Look at this average, 11.7 today slash Friday, almost 22 million people. So we can definitely see Disney keep pushing. What does the test for funded trading look like? What do you test it on? So funded trading accounts are tested pretty much
Based on this disability.
it's based on disability to count bread, right? No, the exam is basically they test you on your ability to make money with their money, right? So for my case, I'm in a $150,000 funded account, and what that means is that my exam, I had to make $9,000 for the first step of my exam, right? So I need to do $9,000. I need to follow their rule set, and I need to not take on insane amounts of risk. Step 2, I need to make another $9,000, and there's a different set of rules. I have to do, less than 3,600 a day, because this one's more of a test on consistency, not on if I can hit big. And so I have to make $9,000 again, and after that, I can get into what's called a pro-funded account, where for the first $5,000 that I make, I still have to follow those step 2 rules. And so depending on how you approach it, you're just examined on whether or not you're able to make money for a different company, and they'll pay you out pretty nicely. I mean, I get 90% of the proceeds, and so I can't really complain with that. I think the main thing is they want to test your consistency and your ability to just place a trade and keep a stop loss, because their stop loss rules are 3,000, at least for the 150K account. If you lose 3,000 in a day, congratulations, you failed. You now have to pay re-examination fees. Great idea. Swing for me as well. Swing trades for me as well, because or when they're possible. Yeah, I'll definitely look at swing trades more, because I think the market's getting into a very good position to start being able to do that.
Hey fellas, hear me out.
I'm hearing you, bro.
Pepsi is the 9th biggest stock in the Nasdaq, which means if Pepsi sends it tomorrow, Tuesday, Nasdaq's sending it tomorrow on Tuesday. I'm just saying.
Hey. So let's do it, bro. So let's do it.
I don't make the rules here. I just follow them. So Pepsi's actually the next stock above Costco in the Nasdaq.
Oh, we're doing
Costco's
something that's
10.
not Pepsi, bro.
You said what?
We're doing something that's not Pepsi.
Okay,
Well, I'm
Drake.
just saying, we take Nasdaq. It's GG's.
Yes, sir. But yeah, no, I think this market as a whole
no,
looks great.
I just got it. We doing something that's not Pepsi. I got it.
But yeah,
it just clicked. It just
Show's
clicked.
over.
that said, does anyone else have any other questions, tickers, things you'd like me to check out? Because honestly, this has been a very productive little setup here.
Oh, don't you?
Did you do a couple like small stocks?
I did, yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, don't you think SPY has a resistance at like 428?
My level is 432 for resistance / 427, and I think we're already above 427. So
Yeah, I got the same one for 432.
yeah,
200.
432 is the 200, and it's the top of the downwards channel that we're having. If we break that, we break the downtrend, and we potentially head higher. I don't think we'll see much resistance in terms of where we're at. We have a $5 gap to the upside, pretty much. I think we're more likely to go there than to go back down first. More people are. When I'm teaching people about the market, the red line, that's my 200-day moving average, I always call it the gravity line. If we're above it, we tend to go back down to it at some point. But when we're below it, we tend to come back up to it. So I'm not surprised that we're rolling back up to the 200-day moving average really at all. That's just the nature of it. Past 200 days is the average price, and I think we'll eventually get back back to it, because that is ultimately the 200-day moving average is, quote, the mean. So I wouldn't be seeing 427 as my resistance, but more so 432. Not financial advice, but yeah,
Act that.
of course.
Flex.
Does anyone else have any other questions, concerns, tickers? Okay, I mean, wow, that was a very productive stream so far. Everyone, I do appreciate you for tuning in. And by the way, Masterclass on sale right now, so feel free to look at that. I've been upgrading it, and I'm currently 8 out of 10 videos for the futures section. I am making an entire section on futures, as that is something that I've been trading. And it does show my journey trading futures, because quite frankly, I went from nothing on it, but I have been documenting everything. I have been documenting my trades, recapping them, and everything. That way you're able to understand why I took trades, why I may have stood out, or other different strategies that I've been using, because it is definitely a little different than options trading, because it is a lot more scalp, a lot more in out within a couple of minutes, versus the options trade, which is maybe for an hour, 2-hour block. So that is linked in the Discord channel. That said, anyone who does not subscribe already to the YouTube channel, Artstrading, subscribe below. I appreciate everyone for tuning in, and I will see you guys tomorrow in the morning for the live stream of probably Pepsi, probably JP Morgan, probably Apple, and definitely NQ. That said, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to Sunday Stock Talk. And I'll be doing these every weekend from here, because that is something that I want to do to provide more value to you guys as Arts Trading family. That said, I will catch